I have male pattern baldness and I am horrendously ugly. That's why in this video I made a custom lighting setup so you can see this face in high res like I do in the mirror and cry every day. But you'll be crying watching me through your screen. Now, how did I make these? With my degree in amateur electronics, which means I can cut things connected to mains power with little to no regard for my own safety. Now, to become good at home video recording of yourself for YouTube and stuff like that, you need three main things. You need good sound quality, you need good camera quality or good picture quality, which I don't have yet, and you need good framing of your shot, which I do have, which is lucky. In this video, like I said before, we'll be making one of the three things because I do not have the means to make the other things yet. So we'll be focusing on the lighting, hoping it increases the resolution of my face. So just a quick test of that, I can turn off my custom lights. And look, I look probably, hopefully way worse. If I look better, that is a terrible thing and I didn't want that to happen. So there you go, there's my well-lit face. Now, unfortunately, I have a confession to make. I've already made this video and edited it, and it was 45 minutes. So now I will be voicing over the rest of the already filmed components, so it is going to look a little bit weird, but it's better than you sitting here for 45 minutes watching me waffle on about crap that doesn't matter. So here comes the designing and construction phase of this video, the bit that will show you how we made all the bits for the lighting that you can't see behind me. We start off by looking at what my current lighting solution was. It was terrible. It was a breadboard with some LEDs strapped to it and a battery box. Now, what will you need to create this lighting setup which I have now? You will need a 5-volt power supply. You will need a switch. You will need a potentiometer. And you will need some wires, as well as a solder if you want to solder your potentiometer in like I did, and then some other connecting wires or jumper wires to connect your LEDs to your wires more easily. Obviously, there's other ways you can go around that, and that is completely up to you. To get the power supply to work with the wires that I was using, I needed to cut the plug off. But because I cut it off without making sure which wire was positive or negative beforehand, I needed to do it afterwards. So I got out my multimeter and set it to the 20-volt setting and did a reading to find out which side was the positive terminal, which side was the negative terminal. And I needed to know this because the LED lights up on my desk up there will not work unless you put the positive to the positive side and the ground to the ground side. They will not work like most LEDs don't. Obviously, checking it afterwards was a stupid idea. I am a Neanderthal, so it takes me a little bit of time to process some things. After I worked out which side was positive and which side was negative, after a few minutes of frustration because the multimeter would not pick up any voltage and I thought I broke it by cutting it with scissors while it was plugged in. Good idea. But it was fine, the multimeter just didn't have the probes attached to it properly. After this, I decided to wire up the circuit, mainly because I didn't know how a potentiometer was meant to be wired, and instead of looking it up on Google like any sensible person, I just went for it and tried to wire it up and make it work. This resulted in a few mistakes, and unfortunately the hyperlapse that I took of it, the camera decided to have cataracts and it was completely blurry to absolute buggery. But I'll put it on behind me speaking now, just to show you that I did manage to get the potentiometer working in the end. So, first bit of the construction, the 3D models, or the first two anyway. Because I've been using Fusion 360 for about 20 minutes, it took me about 1 million years to create these first two 3D models. The first of which was a bracket that will attach to the desk frame, and I'm planning to have that hold the switch and the potentiometer. The second model is the lights, and they are held on using those little circle things in them. That's where the magnets will go in and they'll be glued in and they will stick to the desk frame because it is metal. This means I can have them firing down at my desk if I want to shoot something on my desk, or firing at my face like they are now if I want to have my face illuminated for recording like this. Once those 3D models were done, I pressed print. Once they were printed out, this is what they both look like, and here is what they both look like when they were attached to the desk correctly. Now, after these initial prototypes, I realized that the bracket that went around the frame couldn't hold anything. What a surprise. So I went back into Fusion 360 for about another million years and added a little box to the design that will hold the switch, which had a nice little clip on either side, so it just pushes in and snaps into place and doesn't come out again. Surprisingly, after I pressed print, it was done, and with minimal measuring, it fit absolutely perfectly. Now, because I did decide to use the potentiometer, not only did the design need to hold the switch like you just saw, but it also needed to hold a potentiometer to be able to dim the lights and get the lighting I want for my shots. This required me to go back into Fusion 360 for another 1 million years, so then I could design something that would hold both the switch and the potentiometer. I drew those up, and this is what they look like. I'm sure it's floating on the screen now. And then I pressed print on them, and here was the final result of the switch and the potentiometer design. Then obviously the potentiometer needed a knob on the end, because without it, it looked a bit silly because the metal was just sticking out into no man's land. I also cut down the potentiometer once the final design was completed and all printed out. Now, here is what it all looked like when it was finally assembled. Obviously, it is in the wrong color because you can see the desk is black, but the components are in blue. That was done for prototyping reasons because I had more blue filament than black filament left. And if I made a mistake with the blue filament, well, oh well, I just redesign it, make it a little bit smaller. And then when it comes to printing it in the final color, I know it's 100% going to fit and I don't need to make any unnecessary changes. So clearly the next step after that was to print everything in the correct color. And this is what it looked like. As you can see, it is absolutely the most beautiful thing I've ever laid my eyes onto, and blends in nicely to the desk arrangement. After which, I decided that the light holders were completely wrong. So you know what that means. Going back into Fusion 64, about 40 minutes. Yeah, I'm better at Fusion 360 now. So it took me about 40 minutes to redesign the lighting holders from this into this. So that was so I could put a diffuser over them if I wanted, because I have white filament. So it would just slide in those rails, and then I had diffuse light if I so wanted. And with that, it was time for the final wiring of everything. Now, the wiring. I made a hyperlapse for this, and this time the camera decided not to have cataracts, so it was beautiful, crisp image quality, so you could see how bloody terrible I was at soldering the potentiometer and connecting wires together. I did not film the wires going through the table because that was boring and I don't think you want to see it. Basically, I just ran the cables up the sides and underneath the little channel on the side, so you can't see them at all while you're sitting here. After the wiring was done, that's it. The project was completed. So let's have a look what it looks like now. Now, as you can see, there's a lovely switch on the side with a potentiometer on the bottom. The switch works. I can flick it on and off, which is perfect. And then I can also dim it and make it brighter again. And then the wires, they go from down there across and up there, where that light is, but you can't see it, through there and into that one there. And that's how that all works. So this is the end of the video and this project. Thanks so much for watching. A like and subscribe would be great, and all those disgusting things you have to say as a YouTuber. I hate saying it. And if you want me to make something else with my amateur electronic degree, just let me know. I have made a robot which is behind the screen there, and I have got a skittle sorter over there on the ground, but it never worked. But I do have a video sort of edited together for that. So if you want to see a non-functional skittle sorter, let me know down in the comments, or let me know what you want me to make down in the comments. Other than that, thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you do something you love today because your mental health is important. Thanks so much for watching once again, and goodbye.